What is going on, my friends? I hope you are doing well today. The team at TRE wants to say thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for joining today. This is the Real Estate Podcast, and we want you guys to do us a solid. If you don't mind, can you help us get the message out? We believe that real estate can be for anybody, and we believe there's opportunities for people to grow with us. So if you can, please share, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for being here on our journey, and we are going to continue to add as much value as we possibly can and try to shake up the industry. Let's dive in.
A great opportunity being a broker or just being on the services side to stay in front of your clients and be an advisor to them, because they may not need a broker right now. They may not be willing to sell right now, but they definitely are going to listen to you if you just call them and tell them what your opinion is on the market for an hour. You know what I mean? So just being willing to create points of contact, create ways to get in front of your clients, and just be an advisor to them, as opposed to just kind of sitting back and waiting and seeing what happens, if that makes sense.
All right, Brady, everybody, welcome to the Real Estate Podcast. We hadn't done a podcast in a little bit as far as reaching out to new people. And Brady, right out of College Station, gig 'em, baby.
Sure.
I went to the Masters of Real Estate program at A&M. And what we'd love to do is just figure out how to provide value for entrepreneurs, go a little bit through your background, and then just talk real estate in general. So you don't mind, maybe just introduce yourself and give a little bit of your background.
For sure. So my name is Brady Gayle. I currently am a senior analyst on Walker Dunlop's investment sales team here in Dallas. We focus primarily on multifamily, and Walker Dunlop as a whole mainly focuses on multifamily on the finance side and the investment sales side. But been here for about 8 months now. So just kind of going more into my background. Grew up in College Station, went to a small private school there in town, and then started A&M in 2015. Initially was just a business major. I was taking some pre-med classes as well because I just had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was trying to keep my options open, and then dropped the pre-med part and did the PPA program at A&M. So the 5-year accounting undergrad, and you can choose your master's, but designed for people to go into the big four, do accounting, get their CPA, things like that. So did my undergrad in accounting and master's in finance. Through that program, I interned with KPMG and their deal advisory practice. So it's like financial due diligence. So it's like quality of earnings reports and like setting a peg for networking capital and private equity transactions would probably be the quickest way to describe it. But after that internship, I was like, okay, I don't want to be an accountant. It became pretty clear to me, and had a family friend in College Station who at the time was mainly developing like build to suit medical office type stuff, build to suit smaller office. So I just kind of started talking with him about real estate, and it pretty much immediately piqued my interest. I think there was always a part of me that wanted to maybe do investment banking, but just being fully transparent, I didn't really want to work those hours. And you kind of had a lot of the same stuff when it came to like the financial modeling aspect. And like, actually, I felt like I would really get to use both of my degrees. And I think it's cheesy. I think most people say it, but I really like the idea that, real estate's super tangible. You can drive around and see it everywhere. Being in Dallas, especially in multi, it's like, everywhere I drive, like I see all these apartments that I have to research all the time, sale comps and whatever. So decided to go for real estate. Graduated from A&M in the midst of COVID, and I mean, pretty much everyone that I was interviewing with kind of stopped hiring. I was initially trying to get into like investment sales or capital markets role. So I was interviewing or just like having conversations with a bunch of people when COVID hit, and they all just kind of stopped and were like, yeah, we don't know what the next 9 months look like. So I just kind of scrambled for a little bit, ended up through some connections, interning, I guess, for about 3 months for a tenant rep shop here in Dallas called Swearingen Realty Group. It was a great experience, but I quickly realized that I wanted to be more on the financial side. So ended up after that, I worked for about a year at a company in Dallas called Reef Holdings. Kind of a private syndicator, primarily value add, and I would say they focus a lot on tertiary markets. So, a lot of stuff solely throughout the Sun Belt, but I think like Columbus, Georgia, they had stuff in Mobile, Alabama. Have some stuff down in Houston now. Within Texas, it's mainly like trying to think. They have a lot of stuff like down in South Texas, so Corpus, Edinburgh, stuff like that. So it was a great experience. I think the value add space is super interesting. And when I think about like what I want to do with my career, if I end up wanting to be back in the principal side someday, I think the value add multi space is such a great place to start. There's usually a lot of opportunity there. But I was mainly on the asset management side there, and I kind of realized that I was still in the same spot that I wanted to be in college. Like I still wanted to go work for a broker. I think the great thing about brokerage and the job I have now is it's all about reps, which is kind of a buzzword in our industry. But you get to being on the asset management side, you really only get to look at the deals that the company you work for thought were good enough to buy. So you don't really get to go through the process as much of like actually evaluating deals. And that's pretty much all I do right now is just, underwrite any deal that comes through the door, whether it's a BOV or we're just kind of trying to give a client a quick value, and also going to get to be like in an advisory role of sorts with clients. But I mean, since I've been here the past 8 months, I've probably like a true deep dive underwrite for like a BOV or something like that. I mean, I've probably underwritten upwards of 50 different properties. So getting the vast experience to see how different owners operate, getting to see how buyers underwrite. It's just been a really great experience. So, I really enjoyed it thus far. It's challenging for sure, but I feel like I definitely learn something new every day. And, truly, it kind of forces me to stay on top of things, because you always have to know, okay, what are buyers underwriting at today? Because that's our job, is to represent that. So it kind of makes me keep learning no matter what. So
I love
I
it.
feel like I kind of rambled there, but
That's great. That's what it's all about. So what are some of the bigger challenges and things that you maybe struggle with or trying to get better at, or just anything in general that you could point out to help people get better or think through things in a different way?
yeah, I mean, so in Dallas over like the last year, call it, before things kind of started tailing off a little bit in the past couple months, like, I mean, the multifamily market was just kind of crazy. And you were always kind of trying to find ways to derive more value, or in our role, get buyers to underwrite to higher value. So, I mean, the biggest thing that we've seen here is rent growth. And I think average rent growth in Dallas for 2021 was like 16 or 17%, which Dallas historically has been a market where people usually just underwrite at 3% every year, because there's so much construction and you can't really push your residents that hard on their rent, because they're just going to go across the street to the deal that's being built and probably get in with 1 month free on concessions. And but we're not really in that situation anymore. And even as the capital market side is a little more hairy, I guess you could say, the operations side is still really good. Like, we're still seeing really good rent growth. So finding ways to push buyers to write that, but also to underwrite that way, but also to, on our end, we have to keep up with like, okay, sure, this property might be getting 20% rent growth right now, like on new leases and renewal leases averaged out, but what do we think buyers are actually going to underwrite? So it's one of the hardest things is, and I didn't really expect like being an analyst role. It's like, it's still really important to be, talking to people on the buy side and constantly trying to better understand what their view of things is, because ultimately they're the ones that drive the market. They're the ones that drive what pricing is. So if you're going to represent to your client, like, hey, this is what we think you could get in the market, you've got to have a good understanding of where buyers are at. So, the big ticket items are obviously the rent growth, and then property taxes and insurance are probably the three things that change a lot and are also super important to the ultimate valuation you get to.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to simplify things like that, because it can be really complex, but also it's great to simplify it, to be able to look at these things quickly to understand
For
where you're
sure.
at.
For sure. And that's another thing that's challenging about my role is, especially me as a person, like I think I'm very analytical. So it's very easy for me to get very into the numbers and kind of disregard the whole, like, because obviously no matter how good a deal might underwrite, there's going to be constraints. Like certain markets, someone may not pay more than X per door because that's never happened before in that market. They're not going to pay more than 250 a door. So kind of seeing the big picture too, and just being able to like quickly value things in your head based off sale comps or whatever it may be. Like, okay, this is what this could trade for, regardless of what my underwriting is. Some people just aren't going to pay X. So just kind of you really do have to understand the big picture. You can't underwrite something in a vacuum, and I think it's part of why you have to go through the analyst years to like know how to underwrite an asset, but also learn the big picture before you start talking to clients and just spitting out whatever whatever you think you underwrite to. So
Yeah, great skill set to have.
if that
Absolutely.
makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. What are some key takeaways or things that you could tell new investors or entrepreneurs that you really value or you found has led to your success, just in general?
I think it in real estate and like or in commercial real estate and the type of role that I'm in. So like for people out there who might be like wanting to get into a capital markets type role or a principal type role in the commercial real estate space. Um, I think the two most things or the two most important things in my mind are like one, you kind of have to be willing to be a sponge. And I know that's like also a big buzzword, but um, you're never going to run out of things that you can learn. So you kind of just have to be willing to, and you always have to be curious. Like you're going to run into things daily that you don't understand. Every owner is going to operate things differently, and so anything you see that you're not sure what it means or what it is, like I think it's very important to ask, and just always strive to be learning. And then secondly, you can't really be afraid to work hard. Like I think people want to go into real estate but want to only work 40-hour weeks. It's probably just not going to happen, especially if you're an analyst like me. The industry moves fast, and if you're on the more of the services side like we are, like you got to work at your client's schedule. So you got to be willing to sometimes put in longer hours or whatever it may be, but not even on an hours basis. I just think you have to be willing to work hard and put in the time it takes, like, keep your skills sharp, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like right now when things might be slower in the market, for example, it's pretty easy to just want to like, okay, well, like if you're on the buy side, it's like, I'm not going to buy anything, so I'm just going to go to the beach all summer. If you're on our side, it's like, okay, not a ton of people are selling right now, so why are we even working? But these are the times when you know, like our company on a broader scale, like, me and the other analysts in other offices, like looking into our models and, okay, like how can we improve these to better represent what's going on in the world today, or what type of deliverables or information we put together for our clients to like educate them. And I think times like this are also a great opportunity, being a broker or just being on the services side, to stay in front of your clients and be an advisor to them, because they may not need a broker right now. They may not be willing to sell right now, but they definitely are going to listen to you if you just call them and tell them what your opinion is on the market for an hour. You know what I mean? So just being willing to create points of contact, create ways to get in front of your clients, and just be an advisor to them, as opposed to just kind of sitting back and waiting and seeing what happens, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. I think that's great advice. Yeah, we try to help people be entrepreneurs here. We're in Austin, and the
Hmm.
whole concept is, try to look at deals creative and not just as an
Hmm.
agent, but stuff you're saying, like giving advice or thinking through the market, to be
Hmm.
able to be buying it yourself or just to be a resource for people will typically play out well in the long run if you're just consistent and you're around.
Exactly. And I feel very lucky to be on a team here at Walker and Dunlop, where I think that's the thing that my boss cares most about, is just like, I mean, all of our clients are his friends, and he cares about them, and wants to stay in front of them. And I think you can just see throughout his career, it pays dividends to care about relationships first. And I think that goes for people in real estate, both on the brokerage side and on the ownership side. Like relationships are always going to pay off. So, and
Yeah,
this
man.
is these type of markets are when you're gonna really create and cement those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this is when people can go out and make a difference and go get market share and new ideas emerge and all that.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, we appreciate everything. The last question I have is ways that maybe we or our listeners can add value for you or get connected with you. Love to help you out any way we possibly can.
Yeah, so I mean, I was just kind of like looking into y'all's company, and it, correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all kind of do like, at least with Teifke Real Estate, it's a lot of like land brokerage type stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We're very entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
We teach people how to get more and build their net worth and
Mm-hmm.
build their own brand, build their own team, like get everything you can out of real estate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Commissions for us is a tool, but
Mm-hmm.
really we're trying to help people to invest and to own and create generational wealth.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that makes sense. Well, I mean, if you got anyone looking to buy in Dallas, to buy multifamily in Dallas, feel free to connect them with me. You know, being an analyst, I guess my role is not exactly to serve as a broker, but that's, I'm lucky to be on a team where our boss encourages us to be entrepreneurial and things like that. So, happy to talk with anyone who's looking to buy property in Dallas, or just kind of wants an opinion on the Dallas market. I'm happy to talk with them or connect with anyone on my team that I think would be beneficial for them. So, however I can be a resource for y'all, you just feel free to let me know.
Okay. And what would be the best way for people to get a hold of you?
They can just shoot me an email. My email is bgayle, it's GAYLE, at walkerdunlop.com.
Cool. I love it,
Probably
bro.
the easiest way. I'm on it all day, so I'll see it come through.
Come on, man. Keep hustling. Excited to see how things shake out for you over the course of your career. And we're here to be a resource and hope you guys that tuned in have a great day as well. Reach out to Brady for multifamily in Dallas and keep getting after it, baby. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like, comment, share with your friends, subscribe. We're here to be a resource. Peace.